One that was pretty cute. Everybody loves a baby picture. And this was one that really, a lot of people had emotions about this baby picture this year. This is the Romney family.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, there on Governor Romney's knee is his adopted grandson, who is an African-American, adopted African-American child, Kieran Romney. Any captions for this one?
One of these things is not. One of these things does it the same. And that little baby, front and center, would be the one.
And isn't he the most gorgeous? My goal is that in 2040, the biggest thing of the year will be the wedding between Kieran Romney and Northwest. Can you imagine Mitt Romney and Kanye West as in-laws?
All right, folks, there you have it. The disgusting occurrence on MSNBC right before the new year. Melissa Harris Perry and her panel mocking Mitt Romney's adopted black grandson. Welcome back, and joining us right now, welcoming him back for the first time in 2014, there should be a drum roll somewhere, is Christopher Parker, professor at the University of Washington, co-author of Change They Can't Believe In, the Tea Party and Reactionary Politics in America. Hello, Professor. Happy New Year.
Steve, Happy New Year to you, too. Thanks for welcoming me back.
It's always my pleasure. Okay, so your reaction, before we get to the apology and all that, your reaction to what she said.
It was completely, blatantly wrong. I mean, it was just, there's no way to justify that.
Okay, well, that was short and sweet and to the point. She then tweets out an apology a day later that says, "I'm sorry. Without reservation or qualification, I apologize to the Romney family. I work by guiding principle that those who offend do not have the right to tell those that they hurt that they are wrong for hurting. Therefore, while I meant no offense, I immediately apologize to the Romney family for hurting them." So that apology, granted it was on Twitter and there's limitations in characters, although those were 3 separate tweets I just read you. That apology didn't reek of tears to me. Didn't say, "Oh my God, I crossed the line." Basically, she was saying, I can't tell you not to be offended because you're offended, and the person who offends has no right to do that. So because of that, I apologize. And then a week goes by, and we get this apology on Saturday, parts 1 and 2 here, and here's cut 14.
Among the images we aired was one of the Romney family that showed Governor Mitt Romney's grandchildren, including his adopted grandson, who is African-American. Now, given my own family history, I'd identified with that picture, and I intended to say positive and celebratory things about it. But whatever the intent was, the reality is that the segment proceeded in a way that was offensive, and showing the photo in that context of that segment was poor judgment. So without reservation or qualification, I apologize to the Romney family. Adults who enter into public life implicitly consent to having less privacy, but their families, and especially their children, should not be treated callously or thoughtlessly.
Okay.
Intention was not malicious.
No, go ahead. You didn't stop it, did you?
Okay.
No. Okay, now I wanted to play more. She said the intention was not malicious. Yeah, I want you to listen to cut 15 because there's more.
Sure.
Also, allow me to apologize to other families formed through transracial adoption, because I am deeply sorry that we suggested that interracial families are in any way funny or deserving of ridicule. On this program, we are dedicated to advocating for a wide diversity of families. It is one of our core principles, and I am reminded that when we are doing so, it must always be with the utmost respect. I'm genuinely appreciative of everyone who offered serious criticisms of last Sunday's program. And I am reminded that our fiercest critics can sometimes be our best teachers.
Okay. Who do you think it was who told her to give that apology? I mean, a week went by. Yeah, all of a sudden now she's crying when the first apology was, hey, you know, I offended you, and because I offended you, I have no right to say I didn't offend you, so I apologize. Now it's like, my God, you know, she's breaking down with her apology because she was so wrong in everything she did. And when did she realize this?
So you're suggesting those were crocodile tears, Steve?
I'm suggesting that someone read her a riot act, although it's shocking because it comes from someone at MSNBC, you know, and told her to do this. Now, I don't say told her to cry, but I think someone had to point out to her how wrong it was. I don't think she realized it even when she tweeted the apology.
Well, I think quite possibly her mom or her father, quite possibly maybe her sister did. She's from a biracial family. Her mom is white, and her dad's black. So one of them could have possibly gotten to her and told her she was wrong.
Well, I mean okay, so that's something I had not thought of. But Mitt Romney accepted her apology. But I want you to hear the last part, cut 18. Let's go to cut 18. He didn't even know about the part about Jay-Z and the wedding and all that. Here's cut 18.
I broke the ground rule that families are off limits, and for that I am sorry. Also, allow me to apologize to other families formed through transracial adoption, because I am deeply sorry that we suggested that interracial families are in any way funny or deserving of ridicule.
On the other hand, I have to point out, during the segment, she had a good laugh and said maybe Karen would marry Kim Kardashian's daughter, and then you and Kanye West would be in-laws. Your reaction to her comments then and her apology yesterday, sir?
I think her apology was clearly heartfelt, and we accept that. And with regards to the rest of the comments, I hadn't heard those and don't really have any comment on those.
Okay, so, and again, it's not as if she just said, mock the baby and the picture and the panel did, and she went along with it and she laughed. But then, of course, her own ridiculous comment about them getting married, it just seems like she meant what she said, and if people didn't criticize it, she would never have realized or apologized.
I think the core objection, I think that's a pretty frivolous comment on her part, but it's also frivolous criticism on everybody else's part to say anything about the son marrying Northwest or whomever. I thought that was really sort of off the cuff and really frivolous. If we can, I'd like to focus really more on her apology for making light or making fun of the adopted African American son.
Yeah.
So, once again, that was wrong to begin with, but she gave a really heartfelt, I don't think those are crocodile tears. Like I said, I know Melissa personally. Melissa's a very tough person, and she's not going to cry if she really doesn't mean it. Those were not crocodile tears. Those were tears that were generated, I would suppose, from an interaction with her mom and pops, or maybe even both of them, that probably read her the riot act and said, you know what, that really was not right.
All right.
Those were severe tears.
That's possible. That's Chris Parker, professor at University of Washington, co-author of Change They Can't Believe In, the Tea Party and Reactionary Politics in America, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And then Alec Baldwin, who got kicked off of MSNBC for allegedly anti-gay remarks that allegedly he's made quite a few of, and even though they hired him when he had allegedly made some of those, he got kicked off, or his show was canceled, however you want to put it. And he tweeted out, if I cry, will I be forgiven for all my transgressions? And another one, if I cry, can I file my taxes late without penalty? So apparently he wasn't buying it, and he's saying that crying saved her job. Do you think crying saved her job?
No, I don't think crying saved her job. Melissa's a very accomplished social scientist as well as public intellectual. Now, Alec Baldwin, that's some white male privilege stuff. That's all that is.
That's white male privilege? Wait, white male privilege? What is? Yeah. Tell me what is. That he tweeted is white male privilege? I don't get it.
Not that he tweeted, but that he suggested that crying would alleviate his troubles with MSNBC and filing taxes late and all that stuff. That's a bunch of BS.
But how's that white? I understand it's a bunch of BS, but how is it white male privilege? What is it? Where does that even come into it?
Let me back up. Forget about the race part.
No, you brought it up. You said it was white male privilege. See, that's the problem. You folks on the left, you guys on the left, you gals on the left, right away, it's racism. It's white male privilege. It's this, it's that. And then you say, all right, let's forget I said that. No, but see, that's your reactionary knee-jerk reaction.
Do you really think, Alec, what he has said?
I don't know what white male privilege means in this. I don't know what it means in general, but especially as it applies to here. And I've asked you, and you said forget the racial part. But how do I forget it when that's the first thing you said?
Because that's generally the case when it comes to attacks on women of color.
Really? So if somebody criticizes a woman of color, it's generally white male privilege. Does that mean racism? What does white male privilege mean if a white male attacks because he disagrees with or whatever. In other words, if Alec Baldwin were conservative, if it was Alec Baldwin's brother saying, hey, if my brother cried, would he still have his job? Then he's a conservative white male. Tell me how that's white male privilege. What does it mean in this context? I don't know what it means.
Now, okay, so obviously we're talking about a counterfactual case. And so if that's the case, it's not going to, because both gender and race is negated in that one particular example. But in this example, with Alec Baldwin's critique of Melissa, gender and race are both relevant, right? White male privilege is this intersection between race and gender.
Meaning what, though? Meaning a white male can't criticize a black woman without being accused of something? I don't know what that means. Tell me what it means.
If you look at the historical context of what white males had done to black women in the
Are you
past.
kidding me? So are you kidding me?
Kidding you.
So because okay. I don't even know where to go with this, because I'll only get myself in trouble when I'm trying to come up with a true analogy of some sort. So if a modern day woman living in a high crime area who's white is attacked several times, then you're saying it's okay for her to criticize any black male who dares to criticize her for anything because of her experiences with black men? Is that what you're saying? Because that would be the closest analogy I could think of.
No, what I'm saying here, Steve, respectfully, is that, based on my reaction that was white male privilege, is really, based on, my reading of history and my knowledge of history going all the way back to the founding of the Republic, in which, white men, what they have done to black women. I just saw 12 Years a Slave, last week, and I'm still processing that. So
what does that have to do with an idiot, in my opinion, like Alec Baldwin, tweeting out about a job that he lost at the same station for making remarks or doing something, and he feels that that because this woman cried, she kept her job? What does that have to do with any historical reference to how white men, some, may have treated some black women? What on earth does that have to do with it? And why does it cause you to say about that tweet, white male privilege?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, his offense, making all these anti-gay comments was far more egregious than what Melissa said, right? Because, like you said, he had a history and a pattern of this, right? Whereas with Melissa, it was intemperate. It wasn't the smartest thing to do, but she has no history.
Yeah, she went on to call Abe Lincoln her favorite kind of racist in the same show. In the past, she has this segment called Is This Racist? Or Tell Racist Jokes and Is This Joke Racist? And she's told jokes about Jews. So, I mean, she has a history in my mind. But that aside, I'll give you one more time because I do have to go. I'd still like to know why your knee-jerk was white male privilege. And does this mean that any time a white male criticizes a black woman for something she did or said, then that harkens back to the way you believe white men treated black women in slavery? What is that?
Steve, do I have to give you a history lesson right now?
No. Does that mean that a white man could never now criticize a black woman without you saying it has something to do with white male privilege? Is that am I accurate?
No. The fact of the matter is, Steve, is that he can take his history of anti-gay slurs, and say that, okay, well, maybe if I cried, maybe I'll get my job back. Well, I mean, think about this. This is really a big difference in what he said and what she said. There's a big difference. And to think that, that he would make light of this situation. And as a matter of fact, she went back and apologized, and now he had a chance to apologize. Did he apologize? No, he didn't. So he wants to get his job back.
I couldn't agree with you more. Chris, I couldn't agree with you more. But we'll end it here. I still don't get the white male privilege part of it. I just think, in my view, and I always have thought, Alec Baldwin is a jerk, and that's putting it politely. But beyond that, I don't see it. And maybe a homophobe and maybe whatever, but I'm just saying he's a jerk. To tie it to white male privilege, that we'll explore that next time, I promise. Hey, thank you for joining us as always, sir.
Take care, Steve.
Take care. Christopher Parker, Professor, University of Washington.